Round 12 is in the books, and if you are an NRL fantasy coach, this was a week of highs and lows like no other we've ever seen. Look, the range of scores this week was anything between 550 points to like 1,000 points. So don't feel too bad if you had a tough one, but we're going to go through the top 10 scorers for this week, how they scored, what they scored, and whether you should look at buying them going forward. So let's jump right in here for round 12. First guy up here is Keon Kalomatangi. Look, this was a monster game, 104 points for him. You got 9 tackle busts on his way to 231 run meters. He also had 2 tries in this game. So just a dynamic ball running performance from him. For Kalomatangi, he's at a great price point too. So just under 600K. He'll bounce up above that obviously this week. But at that price and during round 14, I'm very interested in buying Kalomatangi, especially if he gets that middle eligibility, because he'll have that middle and edge dual eligibility, especially with South Sydney's decent buys going forward. Keon Kalomatangi, our number one scorer for the week, absolute juggernaut. Next guy here is Herbie Farmworth. And again, just a running game from him. Massive running game. You got 13 tackle busts in this one, 200 meters run, 3 line breaks. So Herbie Farmworth was on fire. Obviously, the Warriors were very good in this game, but Herbie Farmworth individually was just putting on a show. 99 fantasy points. And this is a guy that I've got in my team myself. I'm very happy to have him right now. Obviously, with that score, he just is one of those guys who, when he's got the ball in his hands, he's very, very hard to tackle. And he doesn't love to pass it either. He wants to run himself, and he's very good at that. So, Herbie Farmworth, Dolphins, a great buy schedule. Not a bad option to bring into your team this week. All right, Jerome Luai's next one here. 641 kick meters. So he was the dominant half in this game. And obviously, Penrith won this game 42-0 against the Sharks. So if you're a fantasy coach and you got on him a few weeks ago, you've enjoyed the big scores, but unfortunately, the party is over. Jerome Luai has played well enough to get himself into the Origin team. So you won't get him for round 13. You might not get him for round 14. You definitely won't get him for round 16. It becomes a bit dicey, but 95 fantasy points means that he is worth holding on to because he's going to skyrocket in price with the high scores he's been getting. So Jerome Luai, 515K, half for the Penrith Panthers. Just a massive game here, and the 5 offloads really cement that as well. Keanu Keeney was a shock. This was a shock to me, right? So Keeney's been scoring sort of 18 points a week most games. He cranks out an 80-point game this week, and it's his 5th game of the year, and this was about half of his total points in one game, which is just bonkers, man. I mean, look, obviously it took him a little bit of time to settle into first grade, I'm guessing. I don't know exactly what's happened here, but for Keanu Keeney, I'm just looking at him and thinking, all right, can he maintain this going forward? Because 299K is a good price. And unfortunately, the issue is that Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson are both guys who are ahead of him at the fullback spot. So I don't think he's a guy you can really bring in. But look, 2 try assists, 4 offloads, 250 run meters. It was a good day out for Keeney and his guy to keep an eye on for the future, or if he keeps a spot long term at some point. But for now, probably wouldn't go buy him. Still bravo to him. All right, rolling through to the next score here. And we've got a couple of guys on 79 points. First one here is Valentine Holmes. So 2 tries, 4 line breaks, 218 run meters. Look, the party with Holmes has been hot, right? He started the year really, really well. He's had some very big games, but unfortunately at this point he gets into the Origin season. He'll play all those Origin games and he won't be super effective for your fantasy side. Saying that, 79 points in this game. They're up against the Tigers side who named a very young, very inexperienced backline. And these Cowboys players took advantage to the fullest degree. So Valentine Holmes, 79 points, just a beast for the Cowboys there. Similar vein here, very similar stat line as well. Jacob Kiraz. You can see here I just changed the tries, line breaks, and run meters a little bit. So it's only 3 line breaks instead, but it was an extra few run meters, 256 run meters. Again, Kiraz, 637K. Very different scenario to Holmes in that Kiraz won't play Origin. He's also wing fullback and center eligible, but at a very high price now. So it's hard to go and buy him at this stage, but the Dogs do have an awesome buy schedule. So could be a guy you look at. If you already have him, you're enjoying that. If you don't have him, I'm erring on the side of just letting him go. He's too expensive, but at the same time, you won't regret buying him. He's an absolute beast of a scorer, and the Dogs are looking very good. Notable mentions here too. So a few guys here, Ewan Aitken, 77 points, basically all in base stats. He didn't have any attacking stats, which is absolutely crazy. Just a few tackle breaks, a few offloads, but none of those try assist, line breaks, any of that. We got Lockie Galvin on 77 points as well. So Galvin was talked about as being in doubt going into this week, which is insane because then he turned up and produced a 77-point game. So bravo to him. Payne Haas, 76 points with the try. Look, he enters the Origin period right now, but that was a big game from him. The try was pretty soft, but it was a tough game, and the Broncos actually lost that game. So Probably should have been feeding Haas a little bit more, and he could have gotten a bigger score as well. Jimmy Tedesco doesn't make the Origin side for the Blues, but he did produce a big game here. So it was 2 tries, 3 try assists, 76 fantasy points. Again, a big one for James Tedesco. He's always a classy guy, and he's now a very good option through the bye period. And last guy here, Jacob Little. Look, he is so explosive, so quick at hooker. He has these big games. He has some quiet games as well. So you've got to sort of balance those two things out. But 74 points for him was nothing to shirk at. Now, those are the top scorers for the week. NRL Fantasy round 12. If you like this, make sure to keep up with all the NRL Fantasy content we're doing here. Drop a like as well, and I'll see you on the next video. Best of luck.